All right, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Crypto Wolf, and today we're gonna do a little bit of a little special thing here. We're gonna do a little two-part. Gonna look at the charts first, and then I want to do. It's probably gonna be a multiple video thing because I don't want to take forever. But I'm gonna break down Robert Greene's book Mastery because it basically applies to literally anything you're trying to do in life. And in this case, you know what? We're gonna make it apply to trading and maybe some other life skills as well. So let's just dive right into it. Over here on the chart, looking at the daily, and I was trying to see, all right, we've had a little bit of whatever going on as we kind of round this little bottom over here. So figured I'd jump up a couple time frames and just see what's the bigger picture looking like. And you know what, we'll start there. So got the VWAP crossing over the zero, obviously a bullish scenario, and as you can see, we got a couple little green candles as a result. Remember, these are Heikinashis, so it's probably green candles even on regular, honestly. But we got a 16 on the bottom of the DBSI, also bullish. We are within this major golden pocket right here, which, if I do recall, because it has been quite a while here. Matter of fact, maybe I even was nice enough to label it. Let's see. Okay, bull market, golden pocket. I was going to say, I didn't think it was the bear market one. So we're back hanging around the bull market, golden pocket, popped up above it a little bit, but it's interesting. We were just keeping this trend line up here, respecting the trend. And right now we're kind of in between a couple spider lines, but more than anything, when we jump down on smaller time frames, you'll see we've had a little bit of interaction with that golden pocket as well. You can also see this little moving average from the ribbon on Market Cipher. But yeah, coming down here on Market Cipher B, you can see the most important thing is money flow is coming back up. It's not quite in the green yet. And so that's kind of the big determining factor that I'm looking at right now. That at least, if nothing else, we have a little bit of time going to the upside here. We'll see what happens, what it makes of it. Rounding the bottom on this momentum wave, got a little green dot when we crossed over. If you don't know, those little dots are VWAP crossovers. Basically, it's showing the exact same thing. Over here on the RSI, though, and this is the one that is kind of like the second biggest thing that I'm paying attention to, is while we are curving up, at the same time, we started splitting real quick as we started rounding the bottom over here. And so, on one hand, while this started splitting as it was coming down, I was like, okay, we're not going to get, too far to the downside so long as that persists, at least at the moment. Now, again, it could turn. We've been up for a little while. It could turn, and if it starts doing one of these gigantic splits, I'd say, yeah, that's probably as low as it's going to go. Not necessarily where I just drew it, but just saying that's an if scenario. But if it starts coming back up, and the split widens, I'm not expecting it to go, definitely not higher than this trend line. That might even be a stretch depending on, how the macro situation is looking. But that's the daily. So let's see if we jump down to the 4 hour here. What do we got? Now weakening out a little bit right here. Again, it is nighttime, so I don't expect a hell of a lot at the moment. But we had a pretty long sideways consolidation. And, after coming down for a little while, consolidating, even still as the money flow was coming down, kind of goes back into what we were seeing on the daily, where the RSIs were starting to split as it was coming down. So it was getting weaker to the downside. And now we see money flow starting to come back up. But it's a little early, but even still, we're starting to see a little split appearing in the RSI there. Again, it's early. I wouldn't read too much into it. VWAP coming up high, potentially heading back down. That could just be for the rest of the night, potentially through the morning. Again, it doesn't necessarily mean, though, especially up on, it's not really a higher time frame, but I call it a mid time frame. It doesn't necessarily mean that as soon as that VWAP starts going in the down direction, that the price is just going to just take a crap. But it's kind of interesting watching this. Came down, took that little bounce, came through and stayed down below ever since. And where were we? Back here, as you can see, I mean, it just kept retesting and retesting and retesting that upper upper edge of that golden pocket before it broke through, hit that trend line. So that's a big nope, came back down. And we'll see what happens this time. Um, Obviously, one important thing, we do have this general trending up on the momentum waves thus far. You know, the RSIs are a little steep as they come up, but we did, they're steep candles, so whatever. But let's see. You know, the next big thing I'd be looking for is this area here in between that spider line and the top of the golden pocket. If it breaks through that, you know, we're looking up here. Those are pretty much the realistic upside targets. If you really wanted to start nitpicking, I'd probably throw a resistance line in there. Got plenty of stuff to the downside. I'm really not even trying to mess around. I mean, you could potentially put one here because we kept retesting that support level right there within that golden pocket. If you're, you know, if you're in a trade and you're trying to get specific and you're trying to see, where's a good spot to potentially duck out or get in, you might want to get that specific. If you are just kind of playing it cool and doing some longer swing trades, I leave it up to you. But, and again, above this little trend line, another spider line before they kind of converge way out there in the distant future. 30-minute. You know, a rather bullish looking situation right here as we get down here on the 30-minute. You know, RSI's together, bouncing around on top, bullish. Coming up, still just pushing, even though it's kind of low volume at the moment. Bullish. Money flow, interestingly, going sideways, so staying relatively high. You know, not, you know, high up here, but for what it's been lately, I mean, about similar to that level back there, except the fact that it's maintaining is interesting. VWAP looking like it wants to break back up. So even while it was on the downside, price was still going up. Might want to pay attention to that one right there. You know, let's get rid of this. And for shits and giggles, let's see, what do we got going on the 12-minute here? All right, so taking a little break. You know, we had this going on, a little bearish divergence, even though the money flow was still going up. So price was generally trending up. But even still, we continued this little downward trend on the momentum waves. And I'd say if that money flow started coming down, I might expect a little pullback, you know, maybe potentially to that moving average right there. Be the first place I'd look, even though I'll be asleep, so I really don't care. Is what it is there too. But, you know, if you're on the other side of the pond, that's probably what you got going for you the next few hours right there. Look at that. That was fast. What are we at? 8 minutes. Let's check. You know, ETH not doing so hot against Bitcoin. Oh, shit. Wait a minute. Hold on. Go back. We got 4 yellow X's in a row. That's interesting. Yeah, look at this. I know it's the 12-minute, but damn. Looks like Bitcoin's just taking boss status lately. Hardly any green. All right. To the real price, though. We got Blood Diamond. Much bigger momentum fall off. RSI is kind of pointing down, getting a little bit of a split. You know, potentially coming down on the money flow here. Again, kind of similar. Looks like a little bit of a pullback. Nothing too crazy. Let's see if we went to the 4 hour, see if it's anything different. Divergence right there. Money flow potentially rolling back up. RSI's together and headed back up. I'd say it's looking pretty bullish right there, honestly. 16, 17 on the DBSI. Doesn't need to get any more complicated than that. It really doesn't. So if you're looking to do a little something with ETH, maybe looking a little better in your near-term future. We got ADA, yeah, same. Not quite as good. Ripple, interesting. No divergence on Ripple, but I mean, if the overall market's going to do something, odds are it's probably going to follow. There's a nice big candle right there on that blood diamond. Big old beautiful blood diamond. All right, so that's what's up with that. Wow, that was only one track playing in the background. That sucks. Let's see. Can we find something I'm not going to catch copyright on? Nope. Nope. Oh, you're killing me, Smalls. Let's see. Ah, fuck it. I'll do this. All right, so if you are unfamiliar with the work of Robert Greene, in fact, I'll jump back over here to the thumbnail real quick. Over here on the right, you can see the Mastery. It's the little fancier version of the book cover right there. Honestly, it is a really, really good read, particularly even if it's in the back of your mind that whatever you're doing in life, whether it be trading or, playing sports, engineering, coding, whatever it might be, even if it's picking up women, whatever floats your boat, you should really be wanting to dig deeper and try to master your craft, to get better at it. I mean, it seems like anything you're going to do is worth doing better. In my personal opinion, anything worth doing is worth overdoing. Moderation's for cowards. Shout out to the movie on that one. So there's a website where they do a lot of summaries, in particular in the case of books like this, like nonfiction or like instructional almost, or self-help type stuff. It's really nice, gives you a little outline, and I actually printed it out to keep because it was that good. And I'm going to read over a couple little parts of this real quick. While I'm doing that, I'll try to start scrolling through some of these guys here, and you can kind of take a look. We'll go down to the 1 hour. So introduction. Masters excel because of their ability to practice harder and move faster through the process, all stemming from the intensity of their desire to learn and from the deep connection they feel to their field of study. Our levels of desire, patience, persistence, and confidence end up playing a much larger role in success than sheer reasoning powers. Now, first, you must see your attempt attaining mastery as something extremely necessary and positive. And a better way to say that, I think, is you have to want it. And I think this applies to anything in life, whether it is trading, investing, doing real estate, womanizing, working out, getting in shape, whatever it is. If it's worth doing, odds are it's hard. And if it's hard, that means you're going to have some balls, suck it up, and fucking do it. And so in that case, the only way you are going to push yourself to do that, especially to master whatever that is, you're going to have to want it. And I won't get too deep into this one, but in previous circles and communities that I was in, it was especially adept at that concept, because the only way you were going to change some of these bad habits was you really had to want it. And I know there's a lot of people out there dealing with similar, okay, we'll say, having to deal with addiction and things like that. Like, the only way anybody's ever going to stop an addiction or a bad habit is you legitimately have to want it. Like, nobody can make you do it. Nobody can, kind of throw you in a room and have somebody talk to you and you just click and, oh, okay, all right. Like, you have to reach a point in your life where you legitimately fucking want it. And at that point, okay, now you've made the decision. And once you make that decision, now you start looking, what do I have to do to reach that point? And so, like I said, first, see it as something extremely necessary and positive. Second, you must convince yourself of the following. People get the mind and quality of brain that they deserve through their actions in life. That's an interesting statement right there. And it's essentially, garbage in, garbage out is what my godmom always used to say growing up. And at the time, I didn't pay attention. What was I doing? I was listening to freaking gangster rap music, watching mob movies, TV, and all kind of nonsense. And yeah, it ended up showing. But, eventually when you start to realize, like, okay, you are the summation of all the inputs that you put into you. So if you're around a bunch of people who are slacking off and doing jack shit and aren't pushing or driving to get better or to make more money or to self-improve or to get in shape, it's going to be that much harder for you to do it because you're just constantly being bombarded with the opposite. And oh, come on, man, let's go play video games or something. Man, fuck video games. If that's it and they don't want to get on board, you know what? You can always come back later on after they see your improvement and like, oh, damn, I want to do that. But for the meantime, you got to have the right inputs and the right people around you to foster you on your mission to accomplish whatever goals that might be. And when it comes to mastery, it's even more important the people that you have around you. So, part 1, discover your calling, the life's task. You possess an inner force guiding you towards your life's task. In childhood, this was clear and directed you towards activities and subjects that fit your natural inclinations. Kids might be, oh, I want to be a fireman, or I want to be an astronaut, or I want to be a policeman, or I want to be a baseball player, or I want to be a hockey player, whatever it might be. And, if you were an athletic kid, then, you might want to be a sports star, or, if you were like the good guy on the playground who was keeping people from getting bullied, maybe you wanted to be a cop or something. But it all seemed so simple back then. You really didn't know what was involved in getting to that point. But 3 steps to realizing your life's task. Connect with your inclinations, look at the career path you are on or beginning, and view your path as a journey with twists and turns rather than a straight line. Choose a field or position that roughly corresponds to your inclinations. And this is basically just saying be realistic. If you have no hand-eye coordination and you suck at physical activities, you probably shouldn't be thinking you're going to go out here and join the NBA or get chosen to be in the NBA, to be more specific. But at the same time, if you're a very artistic person, figure out a way to utilize that talent or those skills, or as it says, those inclinations. Or in the case of everybody watching this, clearly you find trading or crypto or something along those lines interesting, fascinating, whatever it might be, and clearly you want to make more money, or you wouldn't even bother doing this. You'd be sitting on the couch watching TV and not listening to me run my mouth. So if that's the case, all right, well then you want to get really freaking good at it, so you're going to have to learn some shit. But on top of that, you're probably going to have to find somebody or some people who already know what they're doing and try to pick their brain, learn as much as you can. In a lot of cases, maybe that means, you have to pay for a course or pay for some personalized help. That's kind of the way things work nowadays. And I'll get into that here in a minute. But strategies for finding your life's task. Because the first section is just figuring out what that might be. And number 1 is return to your origins. Look for your early childhood activities or inclinations. Number 2, occupy the perfect niche. Choose a rough area that interests you, look for side paths that interest you, and continually move toward a narrower niche. Alternatively, blend 2 distinct areas of expertise that complement each other. I'm not even going to get into my own story on that, but that is absolutely true. And especially if you're trying to start a business, you're going to want to pay attention to that one. Number 3, avoid the false path. Actively rebel against forces pushing you down a path for the wrong reasons. Money, fame, attention, parental expectations, etc. This one's probably one of the biggest ones, and I'll give an example of this. Is where I work, the owner's nephew came and worked for the summer, and he was, I think he was like 16 or 17. And this kid absolutely blew my mind. Like, had no idea what he wanted to do, but every week it was something different. Whether it was, he wants to trade stocks and crypto on, what the hell's the one app? I don't care what it is. And then the next week he wanted to race cars because he grew up in a family's kind of into racing and stuff like that. Then, okay, I'm bored with cars. Oh, you know what? I want to start a Twitch channel. I want to make money online. And then the next one, it just on and on and on. And it was whatever he saw, whether it be on YouTube or something like that, or a friend was doing. It was like, oh, okay, like a dog chasing cars, just going this way and that. But it had no ambition, had no drive really. Just thought like, oh, okay, I'm just going to jump on this and it's going to be easy and I'm going to get rich and life will be fucking beautiful. Needless to say, that didn't quite work out, and it's definitely not working out at the moment. But you don't want to be swayed by, especially watching YouTube. It's very easy to see, like, oh, dude, like Mr. Beast, he's just doing all this cool crap and giving money away. Like, I could do that. Or you see a lot of people, like, there's a freaking million podcasts now. Everybody thinks they could do a podcast and they're going to blow up and they're going to get money and this and that. Like, the vast majority of podcasts nobody ever knows about. And so if you really do want to do something like that, I would almost recommend finding something that you can get good at, get some notoriety, start building up, and maybe then move into a venue like that after you have some people, some clout behind you, some status. And that will definitely accelerate because you will already have a little bit of a following. Number 4, let go of the past. Don't be tied to a particular career or position, but rather be committed to your life's task, wherever that may take you. And this is also interesting too, because actually I was talking to somebody, if anybody out there is familiar with The Real World, it's like an online course community type thing. Well, I was talking to a young guy who's, I think he said he's like about to graduate high school in a different country, and he wants to design like engine parts for like cool cars and high performance cars and this and that. But he's in a part of the country where they really don't have a lot of big, auto manufacturers and this and that. And I'm trying to tell him, like, all right, like I've worked around people, tangential to that industry, and I know people have been in and out of those giant factories, and I'm trying to give him a little bit of advice. I'm like, dude, honestly, don't focus your entire life's goal on, I want to do this one thing. I want to work on these performance engine parts for Mercedes or BMW. So I'm like, dude, those jobs are highly coveted. I'm like, first off, you need experience. You need to learn some stuff. You're going to have to get some schooling. And so I'm trying to tell him, like, focus on that for now. Keep that goal in the back of your mind. Keep it in mind when you make certain decisions to go a certain path. But for the time being, like, being so narrowly focused on a long-term goal could potentially fuck you up right now, because I know tons of people who were like, oh, I want to do this. So they start going down those paths, and along the way, they find out they're better at something else, or a different door or opportunity came along. They took that and found out they really liked it, and it worked out, and they're making money and happy. So never tie yourself down to like one exact tiny little end goal. Like, you can always keep it in mind, but never pass up a good thing along the way. And lastly, number 5, find your way back. Make public your return to your path so that it becomes a matter of shame and embarrassment to deviate from this new path. I fucking love this one. I'm just going to say it right now. Absolutely out fucking standing advice. Pardon my language, but lately I've been on a thing where I've been making these like motivational art, not posters, but like canvas pictures on the wall. Like originally I was trying to find some like legitimate like historical paintings and stuff, and for certain events, and I looked at them, I'm like, you know what, these paintings kind of suck. It's not cool looking. It won't look cool on the wall, so screw it. I'm just going to make my own. And the very first one I did, if you're not familiar with the story of Hernan Cortez, when he came over to the New World, they're looking for gold and treasure and everything, and he reaches there. They get off, they set up camp, they're going through the jungle, they run into some of the local tribes and this and that. They know there's gold out there, but they can't find it. And eventually, like, half the crew is starting to rebel. They're like, dude, this is ridiculous. We're starting to run a little low on supplies. People are getting sick, this and that, injured, whatever. And they're like, we should head back. Like, this is a dummy mission. We need to go. Cortez like, no. We need to stay the course. We came here for a reason. We sailed all the way across the world. Like, no, we're not just quitting and going back. And so it got to a point where he's like, all right, well, they're getting ready to, like, vote me off the island, so to speak. So he sends his people out in the night to drill holes in the bottom of the boats. And when they wake up in the morning, they go over to the boats and they see that there's water collecting in the bottom of the boats. And they're like, oh shit, okay, well, hold on, we got to repair the ship. So he buys himself a little bit more time. And by the time that's finally done, they still haven't found gold. And everybody, like not everybody, but like most of the people are getting pissed. And so they're like, all right, they're getting ready to have like a little committee meeting over here to, basically either vote out Cortez or just vote that, hey, we got to go back. And so that night, he's like, screw it. Burn the ships. Sends his people out there, burn the ships to ashes right there in the bay. Other people see it. They get super pissed off. What the hell are you doing? You just destroyed our only way back to Spain. Are you absolutely crazy? And he said, well, there's no turning back now. Now we have no choice but to go forward. So we better start, gathering up some food, hunting, do what we got to do because this is the reality now. We're here and we're not leaving till we find it. And although that's a pretty fucked up story for the people who didn't want to be there, at the same time, like this says, make public your return to your path so that it becomes a matter of shame and embarrassment to deviate. Now, this isn't like on one hand, you have a lot of people who be like, oh, this is the thing I want to do. And you have a little fad and you tell your parents like, yeah, like I'm going to make it rich trading crypto and this and that. And 6 months go by and you're only losing money or something like that. And like, oh, how's it going, man? It's going all right. It's going all right. But I think, as far as trading, yeah, that's a pretty common story right there. But, if it's something that you're truly passionate about and you are actively trying to get better, you are actively learning, not just doing trades the best you can and maybe watching some YouTube videos. Like if you're legitimately practicing, finding people to learn from, just maybe you're taking some little like courses or instruction, or maybe you're part of like a private group or a Discord or something like, dude's always wearing tank tops, buff dude, kind of farmer guy. I forget, uses Market Cipher. He's got some good stuff too. Evan Aldo too. And of course, Market Cipher Crypto Face, they got the training there. If they still have it, I don't know. But if you are actively pursuing it and you want to make a career of something, you want to start a business, you want to write a book, whatever it might be, and I would wait until you get to a point where you are on your way. Not just, oh, I'm starting it up, I'm super pumped, I'm excited. Yeah, everybody's excited at the beginning, but if you can grind it out and keep going, and you get to a point where you're starting to see progress, you're starting to make progress, you're starting to reach small goals. And at that point you say, hey, this is what I'm doing. Like it's working out. You can see it. There's measurable, tangible proof that, this is moving along. Then, you start telling people. And at that point, all right, well, it's like, oh shit, if I give up now, everybody's going to be like, damn, bro, you a quitter. And it's kind of saying to use that as motivation. And you might do it, you might not want to do it, but I think me having that picture that I made on the wall, which by the way, it's got like a bunch of, like triple masted ships. They're on fire on the water. It's real dramatic looking. It looks friggin' sweet. And then I put the lettering across the top, says burn the ships. And then on the bottom, it says no turning back. It was good stuff. But I actually did another one after that. That pretty much wraps up this first part. The next part is submit to reality, the ideal apprenticeship. And that part will get into talking about apprenticing, which is really, really important. And if you're a younger guy, especially, if you're still living with your parents or something like that, dude, apprenticing is literally like the best, smartest thing you could do. I wish somebody would have taught me this shit back then. Because like once you move out and you got a rent or a mortgage, a car payment, phone, insurance, all this stuff, you can't just go and work for somebody for free. I mean, maybe if you got a little saved up, you lose your job and you want to get a better job and they're kind of, iffy, you'd be like, hey, let me work for you for 2 weeks, 4 weeks for free. If I'm not doing a good job, then you let me go. And a lot of times you can get your foot in the door in a place that normally would not hire you. Because, not a lot of people are going to turn down free work. And so if if you have it saved up to like an emergency fund, if you lose your job and you see a job that you really want but you're not like technically qualified for, but if you busted your ass you could do it, that's a really great way of taking that step up without having to like go do a whole bunch of schooling or take out insane ass credit student loan debt and credit card debt and things like that. But yeah, so we'll get into the apprenticeship thing on the next video. My bad for taking a minute. Like I said, I've been doing my own little online courses and trying to work on this this project to build a company around, and shit, still getting back in shape. On a positive note, I mean, if you're listening at this point, I'll say this: you can absolutely do it. I mean, since the time that I started this channel, I'm at a point now where like I can legitimately see a six-pack coming in, and I've only been like really like regimented working out and getting back in shape, not even 6 months yet. So if I could do it, any of y'all can do it, just saying. But on that, I hope you guys have a fantastic night, fantastic day, fantastic life in the most fantastic way. But I'll catch you guys next time.